Illuminati Facts and Fiction Revealed. The Hidden Truth About the Illuminati Exposed. Introduction. I want to thank you and congratulate you for downloading the book, Illuminati Facts and Fiction Revealed. The Hidden Truth About the Illuminati Finally Exposed. In this book, you will be able to learn more about this supposed secret society that has fascinated many scholars and even average people since it first came into public consciousness. What is this group exactly? In this book, we will separate fiction from fact so that you'll be able to understand what the Illuminati really are as well as what the group stands for. After all, they have been painted in many different ways. Some think of them as an evil group that aims for world domination, while others see them as a group of men and women whose goal is enlightenment and further learning in their own respective fields. By the end of the book, we hope that you'll be able to form your own conclusion as to who they are. Thanks again for downloading this book. I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 1, Modern vs. the Antique. Through the centuries that have passed since the group has begun, many different things have been said about it, and its members have been painted in numerous ways that one cannot easily distinguish fact from fiction. But what is the Illuminati, exactly? What makes them notorious to the point of legend? Let's start from the beginning. The Illuminati is a name that's been given to different groups, both of fiction and real. The most historically accurate one would refer to the Bavarian Illuminati, which was a secret society founded during the pinnacle of the Enlightenment era, specifically on May 1, 1776. The group heavily opposed prejudice, superstition, and the abuse of state power as well as the influence of religion over public life. On the other hand, they pushed support towards gender equality and women's education. This is certainly modern in terms of thinking, and these beliefs led to their group, along with a number of other secret societies, to be outlawed by then Bavarian ruler, Charles Theodore. This act was done with the encouragement of the Roman Catholic Church. Due to various pressures, the group permanently disbanded in 1785. In the years following their disbandment, their group was continuously vilified by the conservative members of the society as well as religious critics who claimed that the Illuminati regrouped and were to blame for the French Revolution. In more modern times, the word Illuminati has been constantly used by various organizations that all claim to be linked or related to the original Bavarian group as well as other secret societies that had the same purpose. These groups, much like the one before them, have been painted as villains. Allegedly, they are all conspiring to control the affairs of the world by actively masterminding events and placing agents in different government offices as well as in many of the world's biggest companies as a means of establishing a new world order. Many conspiracy theorists believe that many of its members are all influential people both in business as well as in politics. They have depicted as shadowy puppeteers who pull the strings behind the curtain. Whether this is true or not, it cannot be proven completely. Interest in it has certainly increased in recent times, with more and more people claiming to have proof of the group's existence and doings. To better understand things, let's look at both groups. What connects one to the other? Are their beliefs the same? If so, could they be one and the same? We'll walk through a path of enlightenment, just as they did before, and find out more about the legendary Illuminati and if they really are the villains that many would have us believe. Chapter 2, The Originals, Bavarian Illuminati. Before we move to more modern times, let's take a look at what many consider to be the foundation for this legendary secret society. According to the documents currently available, the ancient Illuminated Seers of Bavaria, now more commonly known as the Bavarian Illuminati, was a group founded by Adam Weishaupt on May 1, 1776. Their group was based upon his early training which Weishaupt received from Jesuit priests. There are anti-Masonic reports which suggest that he was quite hostile to both the Jesuits and the Catholic Church, but none could provide concrete proof of any incident pointing to it. What of the man in the very center of it all? He was born Johann Adam Weishaupt in Ingolstadt, Bavaria back in 1748. As a young boy, he was educated by the Jesuits. However, in 1773, then Pope Clement XI began to suppress the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, thus resulting in them losing their positions in the very universities that they had founded themselves. Shortly after this event, Weishaupt was appointed Professor of Natural and Canon Law at the University of Ingolstadt. This was considered quite controversial at the time by many, including those who were both hostile and friendly towards the Jesuits. In 1776, this man was inducted into a Masonic Lodge of Strict Observance and Lodge Theodore of Good Counsel in Munich by early 1777. At first, membership to the Illuminati grew slowly. It was around 1780 that Baron Adolf François Frederick Nige became a member, and with him came the rituals for 3 degrees, which were symbolic of Freemasonry, and the 10 degrees within the Illuminati itself. In fact, documents were found which would substantiate the first 8 levels. This marked the beginning of growth within the group, and all through 1780 to 1783, the Illuminati grew from a few dozen to 3,000 members. This was certainly an impressive feat for a relatively unknown group at the time. As a group, their goal was to teach people how to achieve happiness by being good. They did this through enlightenment or illumination and freeing their minds from the shackles brought on by superstition and prejudice. However, their goals were misconstrued. In late 1783, the then leaders of Bavaria had begun hearing of different rumors about the Illuminati and their alleged plans for changing the government. Seeing them as a threat, Duke Karl Theodor, then Elector Palatinate of Bavaria, sent out edicts for the suppression of the Bavarian Illuminati. He repeated these edicts twice. The first time was in June 22, 1784, and the second, in 1785. After they were issued, being a member of Illuminati was considered to be unsafe. Even being associated with the group carried consequences, and many were afraid. Membership began to decline, and in 1785, Weishaupt was also removed from his position in the university. Subsequently, he was banished from Bavaria and was offered pension, which he refused. He moved to Regensburg and was soon given asylum with Duke Ernst of Saxon-Gotha-Altenburg in Thuringia, Germany. Here, he became a professor in the University of Göttingen, where he taught up until his death on November 18, 1830. Despite the disbandment of the group, a vast quantity of literature has been collected on them. Among these, are the public writings authored by Weishaupt himself from 1785, as well as the papers and letters found in the residence of Xavier Zwack, who was a high-ranking Illuminati member in Landshut, Bavaria. The found correspondence includes 200 different letters, exchanges between the other leaders of the group and Weishaupt. About the Zwack documents, there is a number of disagreements, for many believe that they were not meant for the public but instead, were for the state. This led to the government leaders in the 1700s to turn quite hostile to different secret societies. They especially targeted ones that have rich and powerful men as members. The Bavarian Illuminati was no exemption. Bavarian Illuminati recruitment and codes. The group's recruitment did focus on the socially prominent, the talented as well as the wealthy from the very start. It must be noted, however, that recruitment wasn't solely done in Bavaria. Slowly, the Illuminati were also able to infiltrate different Masonic lodges in Germany. Soon, they were also able to recruit even Masonic leaders and then took control over their respective lodges. It is not surprising, of course, that the two groups came to be connected and in some cases, seen as one. By the time 1784 came, they were able to spread the order and create active colonies in places outside of Germany, including Bohemia, Czech Republic, Switzerland, Austria, northern Italy as well as Hungary. Ciphers, codes as well as secret names played a huge role when it came to the Illuminati system. Each member would have a code name for themselves. Weishaupt was Spartacus, Baron von Nige was Philo, and Zwack was Cato. They also gave places special code names. Ingolstadt was called Eleusis, Vienna was Rome and Munich was Athens. Their communications were kept in the form of ciphers, even the dates were written in code. In the beginning, secrecy was simply a means of keeping everything exclusive. However, as the order grew, this secrecy became essential when it came to their survival. This system was eventually breached due to some order members speaking freely about the codes as well as the order's opposition towards political and religious autocracy. Dawn of the Illuminati myth. While it remains to be the most popular, the Bavarian Illuminati was just one of the many minor secret societies that were founded during the late 18th century. They could have easily been wiped out from history or relegated to no more than a footnote had it not been for a series of events which led to its becoming somewhat of a myth. It must be made clear, however, that the achievements of the group itself remains relatively small compared to how legend painted them to be. Between its founding in 1776 and the eventual suppression from the Bavarian government, they were able to spread French Enlightenment ideas in then very conservative Bavaria. They also won a bit of influence when it came to the liberal end of the German public's opinion, but that was all. So how did the myth come about? Many scholars say that the beginnings of the myth were set into motion after the Bavarian government's seizure of different papers related to the Illuminati. The act alone launched a brief furor. The press was very conservative at the time. It would have been wiped from memory if the French Revolution didn't break out a mere 3 years after. During its first years, many saw references to the Illuminati in anti-Masonic publications suggesting that this secret society might be behind all of France's current political troubles. That, in fact, the Illuminati planned for the revolution itself. This transformed the small secret society from Bavaria into the centerpiece of 2 centuries worth of public scrutiny and, of course, many different conspiracy theories regarding it. The flames of paranoid speculation was further flamed by the publication of Augustin Barruel's book, Memoires pour servir l'histoire du Jacobinisme, Memoirs serving as a history of Jacobinism. De Barruel's book immediately caused quite the sensation all across Europe. His claims were taken by conservatives as a weapon to be used against the liberals. De Barruel, along with John Robison's, though it isn't discussed in this book, mixed his story with that of the Knights Templar as well as various media reports about different 19th century secret societies in order to create a vision of an underground organization that is heavily opposed to Christianity and monarchy. This is where many of the modern Illuminati groups take their ideas from as well. These beliefs found another home in a completely different social venue, on the far side of the Atlantic to be specific. This is where Robison's book actually sparked a brief witch hunt for Illuminati members during the 1790s. This also led to the now well-known sinister Illuminati plots. The same belief still holds true even today, centuries after the original group disbanded. Chapter 3, Modern Myths. So how does a group, with such a brief existence, influence one of the most prolific modern myths when it comes to secret societies? Their influence is so far-reaching that they have been connected to a number of different events all throughout history. It would be safe to say that when it comes to secret societies, conspiracy theories and modern-day plots, the Illuminati is the original bogeyman. But are they really as bad as literature makes them out to be? Now that we've learned of their humble beginnings and the goals that the original group had, this doesn't seem to be the case anymore, right? But of course, the story doesn't end there. It is unquestionable that the Illuminati are universally famous and that very few know the actual truth behind this legend. You've already met the originals, but what about their modern counterparts? On the internet, they are portrayed by many extreme conspiracy theorists as villains. For fringe conspiracists, they are seen as the power that controls every throne, the hand that works behind a number of different organizations, often seen as no more than mere fronts, such as the United Nations, the Freemasons, as well as the World Council of Churches. They are blamed for a number of different world problems as well, Everything from the war in Iraq to AIDS as well as the current global financial crisis. Many have said that the Illuminati has one aim, and that is to completely enslave the world and mankind body and soul. There are two very interesting aspects when it comes to the modern myth of Illuminati. The first of which would be the fact that, contrary to the public's opinion, the original Bavarian group were the good guys of their time as opposed to being the plotting and scheming bad guys they have been painted to be. After all, these are the people who strived to educate the common man to rekindle human aspiration after years of being suppressed by superstition and social class distinctions. They did this during a very conservative age. The second thing would be the simple truth that the Illuminati are no longer in existence. This is contrary to what many related websites would have you believe. It would be safe to say that the group of radicals from over 200 years ago would be quite displeased with the fact that their name is being used in unsavory ways. Plotting world domination? Not quite. They were, after all, simply pushing for a more enlightened society. To free people, not chain them. So if this Illuminist agenda still exists to this day, what form would it take? From a spiritual and esoteric point of view, more modern secret societies like the Ordo Templi Orientis have laid claim to be heirs to the idea that the Bavarian Illuminati first put forward. However, there are also researchers who claim that even today, there exist orders which are above the 33 visible degrees associated with Freemasonry, which also comprise the Illuminati. However, as secrecy is the key to the very survival of these orders, obtaining more information, and proof, about them is extremely difficult. A prevailing myth when it comes to the more political side of modern Illuminism is that at the very core of it is a concentrated group of powerful individuals who are entrusted with creating a number of important decisions and policies concerning worldwide affairs. The Illuminati and Hollywood. One of the most popular myths about the Illuminati is that they control many different sub-organizations all over the world. This includes the film industry and at the very heart of it, Hollywood. Many conspiracy theorists believe that the Illuminati want to control the public, and to do this, they are making use of one of the biggest media outlets available to them, movies. Of course, secrecy is still among the key things that keep their society running, and as such, they move stealthily. After all, they cannot approach a director or a producer and inform them in a blunt manner that they are the Illuminati, and they want a movie made which would propagate their beliefs and agenda. That would be quite stupid, wouldn't it? It's not a secret to most, but money does talk, and this is the same when it comes to Hollywood. If you have enough of it, you can get just about anything made. Conspiracists argue that in the past 20 years, the amount of films about the occult completely outnumbers the ones reflecting Christian beliefs and the like. Of course, the occult is also associated with the Illuminati, and they have been said to perform various rites during their meetings. But this ratio could also be attributed to something else entirely, right? Say, for example, public interest. Producers focus on stories and movies that would sell to what the public wants to see, and perhaps, the majority favor occult movies for the sake of thrills and mystery. These are two things that draw the biggest crowd when it comes to films, TV shows and even books. Isn't it the very thing that also fuels public interest in the Illuminati? What are some examples of supposedly Illuminati films? Among the most popular would be The Matrix. For many who believe in the Illuminati, the representations and references were extremely blatant. Another would be Fight Club, which, they say, is a nod to the more covert military build-up that the average person knows nothing or isn't too interested in actually learning more about. The fact that Ed Norton's character is dissociative is also a reference to the Illuminati, apparently. Another movie, though it is a bit more obscure than the others, would be The Labyrinth. It references the Illuminati's programming stories that targets children. In fact, they say that any movie or show that comes with an occult viewpoint, or deals with astral travel, contact with the spirit world, or any form of psychic phenomena is part of this agenda. Witches and wizards, characters that have gained much popularity in recent years are also Illuminati. The Illuminati and Freemason connection. While in history, it is true that the Illuminati did manage to infiltrate as well as recruit many Masons, the question today is if this still holds true. After all, Freemasons are a visible group, and if they are with the Illuminati, doesn't it prove the existence of the latter as well? Many theorists say that the two groups are hand in glove. However, are all of them Illuminati members? This is not quite so, especially when it comes to the lower levels of Freemasonry. For the most part, it is said that they are also unaware of the other practices that happen at night in the larger temples. This sector of Freemasonry is typically comprised of fine businessmen and other normal people who simply look to the group as a brotherhood. Little do they know that the group itself is no more than a front for the Illuminati. Quite devious, isn't it? Many have speculated that the Illuminati and the Freemasons are hell-bent on the same end game. That both want to establish a new world order and is working towards that together. This involves different agencies and aspects of the United States government, and for conspiracists, events that have happened outside the US soil lend more credence to this theory. However, this isn't the only theory about the connection that these two groups have. There's also the occult and the secret practices that happen. Luciferian many have called it, and there are speculations that Freemasonry is its own religion. The occult theories about the group find their roots in the Tuxil hoax, one that also gives it a satanic association. Of course, there's also the belief that these groups have embedded symbols in everyday items such as national seals and street patterns. Even the dollar bill is not spared of it. What about the Illuminati and Satanism? This is one of the more common and rather rampantly spread rumors about this group, but is there any truth to it? If we were to, yet again, look back to history, then the answer would be no. However, we have already shown that there is a vast difference between the old myths and the new ones. So where does the association begin? It's been said that the form of Satanism at the Illuminati is quite different from the usual. It is deemed to be a pure worship of the devil and portrays Christians as adversaries. Indeed, a significant leap from the occult Satanism, which denies the existence of a god instead. For the Illuminati, they are fighting against this god for Satan's side and seeing the figure as an enemy. This kind of Satanism was said to have been started by the Knights Templar in Eastern Europe back when the Crusades was at its peak. You might be familiar with this group as well, for they are as legendary as the Illuminati itself. In fact, much like the Freemasons, they are also often associated or even grouped together as being one and the same. When the Knights Templar were forced to leave for Scotland due to a religious conflict with other ethnicities in Europe, it has been said that it was then that they founded the Freemasons, otherwise known as the Masonic Order. What's interesting to note is that the Freemasons did not practice this religion, and much like other occult groups, they too deny the existence of a god and even of Satan. It wasn't until the Illuminati order was founded, yes, the Knights Templar came before them in the timeline, if this seemed confusing for you, that they began practicing it once more. Allegedly, Weishaupt resurrected the old religion and eventually turned it into the order's official religion. However, not all of the members were aware of this, and the recruits were none the wiser as well. They were told that the Illuminati is simply an atheist society and that the goal is to make mankind bond and work together regardless of religious and ethnic differences. This is, again, another ruse on their part. The Illuminati and extraterrestrials. If you thought that the above myths are out of this world, then you probably haven't heard of the theory that the Illuminati is, in fact, run by extraterrestrials, also known as aliens, particularly a reptilian race that operates from a higher dimension. What's the score on this? As far as most conspiracy theorists know, such a thing is absolute fiction and is something that only fringe theorists believe in. While they say that the group has dabbled into shape-shifting, it is done through demonic influences and not alien ones. Of course, it is odd to think that a reptilian race is not as plausible as say, a demonic one, but this is simply what the Illuminati believe in, allegedly. Chapter 4, The Illuminati's Rituals. We have discussed some of the more prevailing myths when it comes to the Illuminati, and in doing so, brought to light their apparent connection to Satanism. While the truth behind this can't be proved or disproved, it is still an interesting aspect to it, and it isn't entirely evil as one would first think. It all depends on what your definition of Satanism is, and allow us to inform you that when it comes to this, there is no such thing as black and white, only grey areas. Shall we begin? A former trainer for the Illuminati once spoke about these rituals, and they can be quite gruesome. Probably more than what the average folk would suspect. After all, we have quite the Hollywood version of Satanism, and on celluloid, it's less overwhelming and often seems less believable. But can it happen in real life? Well, apparently it does. We must begin with an understanding of the 6 branches of Illuminati learning. One of them would be the spiritual side, where the sacrifices are usually done. They also dabble in sciences as well as opening different dimensions and portals. For this topic, we're going to focus on the spiritual side of things, where they say, the rituals take place. 2 things. The Celtic branch of spiritual learning works under the belief that power is passed in that moment between life and death. And so, they perform rituals wherein older adherents or even children are tied down to a chair while an animal is bled to death on top of them. In doing so, they believe that this person would be able to receive power from the animal's departing spirit. That aside, the experience is very traumatizing, especially for smaller children, since these rituals are done under threat of death as well. Opening of different dimensions and portals. You may think of this as no more than science fiction stuff, but allegedly, the Illuminati believe in it, and its higher-level members are capable of passing into them. However, for it to be possible, a big sacrifice must be made first, and this is usually comprised of several animals. There are cases where sacrifices are also made in order to protect members from the demonic, or to close a circle so that a demonic entity would be prevented from entering it. Illuminists believe in the spiritual realm, and this has become codified practice, performed over and over again for hundreds of years, and takes from many ancient occult rituals. They also, supposedly, believe that they are able to control these powers for their own purpose. The sacrifices are typically done during high holy days, and these can involve animals as well as human ones, though the latter were much rarer. In the course of training individuals, mostly children, it has been said that accidents do happen. A trainer might end up pushing a person too far without noticing signs of stress, and eventually, this can lead to death or something far worse. Some trainees enter a vegetative state or simply go out of their minds. In worst cases, they need to be put down through various means, such as an injection of insulin or air. To cover this up, they were set up, also known as disposed of, in a fatal crash or accidental fire, so that no one may discover the body. Now, it must be known that the people who carry out these deeds also work under threat of the same. Mistakes and failures are punishable by death. Of course, these things cannot be proven, and from now, it is considered by the general public as no more than myths. However, there are also those who believe it and claim that they have seen it firsthand. Chapter 5, Illuminati Symbols as Seen Today. So are they or are they not? Conspiracy theorists have long argued that the Illuminati is taunting the profane by blatantly putting their known insignias and symbols for all to see, but only true insiders know what they actually mean. If we were to believe conspiracists, these symbols can be seen on the TV, in movies, in newspapers, and even in our money. Check out the list below. The all-seeing eye. This is, arguably, the preeminent symbol and also the most recognized symbol of the Illuminati. Why is it associated with them? To theorists, it is representative of the Eye of Lucifer. An eye that can oversee all of its minions and see everything. The pyramid also has 13 steps, and this, they say, symbolizes the 13 Illuminati bloodlines which rule over the planet as a collective. The year inscribed on it, 1776, represents the founding of the Bavarian Illuminati. What is known fact? The eye doesn't represent Lucifer but rather, it represents God who favors the United States' continuous prosperity. It is placed above an unfinished pyramid to show that there is still room for growth. The 13 steps represent the original 13 states and of course, the year refers to 1776, also known as the birth of the United States. The owl. A symbol that is associated with Minerva, the goddess of wisdom. It is said that the enlightened ones has taken it for their use as well, to represent themselves as the wise rulers of the entire planet. The Bohemian Grove, an exclusive 2,700-acre encampment resting in the redwood forest in Northern California, has an owl on its logo. But what could this mean? Well, the Grove has Illuminati ties and it is also where secret meetings apparently take place. From the Manhattan Project to a deal between Reagan and Nixon as to who would run for president, it's said to play a role in many Illuminati activities. What is known fact? An owl, as a symbol for wisdom, has been used in many logos and a number of other things which are not entirely related to the Illuminati. The pyramid. Again, this is one of the most recognizable symbols that is considered to be linked to the Illuminati. Conspiracists say that this represents the top-down structure of command when it comes to the Illuminati and their rule over the universe. It is also linked to Freemasonry and can be seen in House of the Temple, which is the HQ for the Supreme Council of the Southern Jurisdiction for the Scottish Rite of Masonry. Typically, an unfinished pyramid is often used. What is known fact? While the Freemasons openly embrace it as a symbol, there is no actual proof that it is an Illuminati symbol. Yes, it was a prominent feature in the Minerval assemblies of the Bavarian Illuminati, but for more modern beliefs, it doesn't necessarily apply. There are those who claim that rapper Jay-Z's Rockefeller logo, which resembles a pyramid, also means that he is backed by the legendary group and is a member of it, but that too cannot be proved in any way. So there you have it. 3 of the most prominent and recognizable symbols associated with the Illuminati. These are things that we can actually see today, and while there are links here and there, one still cannot prove it as a whole. Much like the legend of the Illuminati itself, there are holes and gaps that are yet to be filled with factual information. Conclusion. Thank you again for downloading this book. I hope this book was able to help you to understand the history of the Illuminati better, as well as debunk some of the prevailing myths that might have marred your overall view of them. While not everything can be proven or disproved, we hope that through this book, you were able to filter out what's a known fact from fiction. This is important if you wish to really get to know this legendary group. Finally, if you enjoyed this book, please take the time to share your thoughts and post a review on Amazon. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you and good luck. Illuminati exposed. The truth about the Illuminati finally exposed. Copyright 2014 by _all rights reserved. This document is geared towards providing exact and reliable information in regards to the topic and issue covered. The publication is sold with the idea that the publisher is not required to render accounting, officially permitted, or otherwise, qualified services. If advice is necessary, legal or professional, a practiced individual in the profession should be ordered. From a declaration of principles which was accepted and approved equally by a committee of the American Bar Association and a committee of publishers and associations. In no way is it legal to reproduce, duplicate, or transmit any part of this document in either electronic means or in printed format. Recording of this publication is strictly prohibited, and any storage of this document is not allowed unless with written permission from the publisher. All rights reserved. The information provided herein is stated to be truthful and consistent, in that any liability, in terms of inattention or otherwise, by any usage or abuse of any policies, processes, or directions contained within is the solitary and utter responsibility of the recipient reader. Under no circumstances will any legal responsibility or blame be held against the publisher for any reparation, damages, or monetary loss due to the information herein, either directly or indirectly. Respective authors own all copyrights not held by the publisher. The information herein is offered for informational purposes solely, and is universal as so. The presentation of the information is without contract or any type of guarantee assurance. The trademarks that are used are without any consent, and the publication of the trademark is without permission or backing by the trademark owner. All trademarks and brands within this book are for clarifying purposes only and are owned by the owners themselves, not affiliated with this document. Table of Contents. Introduction. Chapter 1, The Illuminati, an Introduction. Chapter 2, The History of the Illuminati. Chapter 3, The Tenets of Belief of the Illuminati. Chapter 4, How the Illuminati was Shaped. Chapter 5, Hacking into the Mind of the Illuminati. Chapter 6, How the Illuminati Work. Conclusion. Introduction. I want to thank you and congratulate you for downloading the book, Illuminati Exposed. This book contains information about the Illuminati, a secret society that has been running the events and happenings in the world. This book provides useful insights on how the Illuminati were shaped, as well as its history. After you are finished with the book, you will have gained some knowledge about its secrets and how the events over the last 100 years were shaped. Mysteries that have remained unanswered will be given answers and explanations via this book. Thanks again for downloading this book. I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 1, The Illuminati, an Introduction. A lot has been said and written about the Illuminati secret society, but to this day, it still interests so many people. Members of this infamous secret society has always been referred as puppet masters who are said to have had their hands in almost all of the major events in the world, such as elections, revolutions, and even business and stock market collapses. Many conspiracy theorists have different degrees of suspicion that this group has a secret agenda and is continuously working behind the scenes. Those people who have cultivated their fascination for the Illuminati maintain that unexpected events that happen anywhere in the world are the handiworks of the secret members of the Illuminati, for the benefit of certain individuals. These so-called conspiracy theories have been labeled by most people as imaginative thinking. However, a variety of the events have happened around the world that is hard to explain, and even the self-proclaimed experts cannot give solid explanations about them. People say that there is more to a story than meets the eye, but most of the experts in the know are somewhat afraid to come forward and give their take to reveal the missing puzzle. Secret societies. It is a common fact that there are secret societies in business, politics, and even in religion. Many of these organizations already existed for over 100 years. Their mere existence is the cause of speculations and extreme paranoia among outsiders and non-members. While people from the outside may be able to formulate reliable theories about events and incidents, it is difficult to understand what really goes on inside a secret society. But as what people always say, you cannot conceal the truth forever. Even the most careful criminal leaves clues behind, and the most persistent observers and investigators are able to catch them. Like murder cases, the evidence may not show logical explanations at first, but when they are analyzed, answers are found. The Illuminati. Over the last 100 years, clues have been found about the Illuminati. There are evidences that can prove that there are secrets that the rich and the powerful are keeping from the world. More and more are coming out. The modern times saw various people coming forward and claiming to be actual members of this secret and elite society, just like what happened in the 1970s. These people defected from the elusive group and turned to Christianity. They have a lot of stories that reveal the secrets of the Illuminati. Some people find their claims to be accurate and reasonable. However, some of their revelations can be perceived to be pure imagination and exaggeration, and are blatant lies. Their stories and other analysis will be discussed in this book as it tries to bring in the facts and to debunk fictitious claims. Chapter 2, The History of the Illuminati. The Illuminati traces back its origins back to more than several hundred years to their initial conception. The secret society's modern origin can be attributed to Adam Weishaupt. In the 1760s, he defected from the Catholic Church to create the Illuminati. It was financed by the international bankers, and since then, the Illuminati's main goal has been to create a one-world government and subdue all governments and religions in the process. The group has since claimed that all wars and revolutions around the world since the French Revolution was their orchestration to pursue their goals. In the 1770s, Weishaupt wrote the master plan to outline the group's goals, and finished them on May 1, 1776. As per the Illuminati, most communist nations still commemorate their great day by celebrating May Day. Significant events in the world. During the time when Weishaupt's ideology was introduced, Britain and France were recognized as the superpowers. The Illuminati claimed responsibility for the Revolutionary War against the British Empire. Just the same, they also credit themselves in instigating the French Revolution to defeat the French Empire. It was in the 1780s that the Bavarian government discovered the subversive activities of the group, which forced them to publicly disband and go underground. The next decades saw them disguising with different names but still actively worked to achieve their ultimate goals. The Napoleonic Wars, according to the Illuminati, was another intervention in order to weaken all of the European governments. The Congress of Vienna was the Illuminati's attempt to create a one-world government, which would be called the League of Nations. However, they met resistance from Russia, and the supposed League did not materialize, causing animosity between the Russian government and the Illuminati. Because of the unsuccessful attempt of forming the League of Nations, the Illuminati tried a different approach. They used the international bankers to control the vast European economy. They directed the creation of Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. Likewise, they commissioned an antithesis by Karl Ritter. They used this antithesis to take advantage of the differences of ideologies to further divide the citizens of the world. The Illuminati found an ally in Albert Pike, the American general. Together, they worked on a blueprint for 3 world wars that would be carried out in the 20th century that would give them the opportunity to create a one-world government before the 21st century. World War I, according to the Illuminati, was initiated to destroy Tsarism in Russia, as it has always opposed whatever the secret group initiated. The intention was to establish Russia as the biggest stronghold of communism. On the other hand, the Illuminati claimed that World War II set battle between the fascists and the political Zionists. The main goal was to create international communism. The intention was to make it as big as the United Christendom. The secret group said that the Third World War would be fought between the leaders of the Muslim countries and the political Zionists. Its aim was to drain the international community, so that all countries will have no choice but to form a one-world government. Chapter 3, The Tenets of Belief of the Illuminati. The basic principle of the Illuminati as a group is to develop a higher awareness and establish a link to the divine element of the architect. Believers are given constructive ideas, thoughts, and actions that will serve as their guide in pursuit of the ultimate goals of the group. This principle is actually based on the blueprint of the universe. The 9 tenets of belief of the Illuminati. We believe in a supreme deity. It holds the reality construct of our personal spirituality and reflects our gnosis. This belief allows members to recognize a God and for them to create a personal encounter and act according to the will of that supreme deity. This tenet covers all the basic aspects of all the different religions around the world, which is the belief and worship of one God. We refer to one supreme being as the creator, and the architect of the universe. The architect is revered and is a combination of all the forces in the universe. It is neither good nor evil, because the architect's power is absolute. We believe in the power of forgiveness. We will not bear grudges against our fellow man. We will not resort to the defamation of character, or turn to slander to hurt mankind. But for people who were subjected to such attacks, we, as a people, will seek the truth and give justice to the aggrieved. This is based on the religious teachings of forgiving one another. However, evil acts should be punished to bring justice to the victims. We believe that there is a balance that exists within each one of us as order chaos. It is reflected in our own reality construct based on our own personal experiences. We do not believe in the balance between men and women because serves only as a source to claim supremacy and mastery of the other sex. Balance can only be achieved within us and not outside. This manifests that inside every individual, there are strengths and weaknesses that create a balance. We believe in the presence of good and evil which can lead to either the enlightenment or the downfall of every man. We all fight for the good in the world no matter where we are and what religion we belong to, whatever our race is, or our pledge of allegiance. Every religion has a belief on good and evil and that it's every believer's responsibility to fight for the good of mankind. We believe in correcting all wrongdoings by attackers against the helpless and the innocents. These attackers are motivated by their own ego and their lust for power. We will fight everyone who hurt others to further their false spirituality at the expense of destroying another person's pursuit to true spirituality. Members are heeded to fight for what is right and protect the oppressed and those who cannot defend themselves. We do not take advantage of our powers of spirituality for political gains, but we recognize every individual's freedom to pursue their own gnosis, provided that the pursuit to freedom does not hurt another human being. Members are encouraged to pursue their own goals and dreams but without hurting other people in the process. We cast no stones at others without evaluating first our own faults. Members are taught not to judge other people's mistakes but instead examine their own faults first. They are taught not to be judgmental of other people. We accept everyone for membership, regardless of race, age, sex, and religion or philosophy. There is no discrimination to become a member of this secret society. However, there are exceptions to the rule: someone who openly worships an evil deity, someone who is affiliated with a political party that rejects freedom, and someone who is a racist or lives in selfish philosophy. Chapter 4: How the Illuminati was shaped. Adam Weishaupt, in his document entitled, Notations of Illuminati Thought, he extolled the concepts of the secret society in a way that any new member would understand immediately but still made sure that it was secure and safe from outsiders. It was Weishaupt's intention that even peasants during his time would be able to comprehend the principles of the Illuminati. He didn't want to discriminate and anyone who wanted to be a member can apply. He observed that once students or new members got to understand the basic tenets of the group, they began to really think and not just be. People new to the group started to understand what the concept of the secret group was all about and not to just blindly accept principles and concepts. He was able to educate new members through his writing. New members learned to use linear, constructive, and even logical thought processes. The Illuminati's basic rules, as designed by Weishaupt himself. True illumination creates. False illumination stagnates. Stagnation can be an individual's resistance to change and progress. It is being lazy and being complacent. It is staying in the comfort zone rather than looking outside the box to better oneself. The right-hand path is true illumination. It takes effort to achieve true illumination. The rewards of the member are directly proportional to his potential success from a particular project. The left-hand path is false illumination. One doesn't need to put an effort to achieving this and the rewards are non-existent. Someone who is falsely illuminated has delusions of his achievements. Through bad counsel and advisors, he is told that all he has to do is to look to the path of illumination, in this case, false illumination, to achieve it. You will know that you have achieved true illumination when you have acquired wisdom and you are not merely told that you have wisdom. You know that you have worked for what you know. Every person who has acquired true illumination feeds each other's positive energy. On the other hand, those who are falsely illuminated drain the energy out of those who are truly illuminated. The path to true illumination has to be found, it has to be discovered. You cannot walk through the path unless you are able to clear away the challenges along the way that prevents you from finding it. Before you can find the true path of illumination, you will have to hurdle adversities and obstacles. While true illumination is hard to find, the path to false illumination looks straight, inviting, clear, and easy. It is not lined with challenges, but rather there are fools that have the delusionary beliefs that wisdom and knowledge are easy to acquire. Truly illuminated people can inspire other people to find wisdom, while falsely illuminated ones bring other people with them to stagnation. Falsely illuminated men tell lies. Slanderous words come out of their mouths. They use false statements against truly illuminated men. They find strength in disorder and chaos. You can only learn true illumination from men who are truly illuminated. Falsely illuminated men deceive other people that they know the true path of illumination. These are just the basic rules that govern the Illuminati. These rules help bring the new members to a common starting point. Wei Short wanted to educate those people who wanted to become a member of this secret society because he, himself, was an educated peasant, and he wanted everyone to have equal opportunity to learn and acquire wisdom. This was what the people, particularly the Catholic Church, didn't want peasants to acquire, because a thinking peasant can easily overthrow tyranny of both the state and the church. A thinking peasant would desire to be free from the oppression that their people have endured over years. Illuminati, the secret society, can give what any person wants, and that is to be educated and acquire wisdom. The pre-Illuminati groups. Most of the documents that have been circulated about the Illuminati and how it came to be are all based from the principles and concepts of other societies that have been established before the Illuminati. These are the Knights Templar, Freemasons, and Bavarian Illuminati, founded in 1776 in Germany. It is important to point out that similar societies have long been established before the Illuminati. The Knights Templar, for instance, have been around since the 1100s, while the Freemasons date back to the 1500s. However, before these organizations were created, there already existed secret societies that were supposed to keep secret knowledge. Most of these groups have grown and evolved into more modern and more sophisticated organizations. The idea that knowledge is the source of power can be traced back to the ancient Egypt and Greece eras. Most groups of men have particular knowledge but kept them all to themselves, and revealed them to the world in incremental and within the proper venue, the mystery schools or the mysteries. As medicine, science, and art continued to evolve and new discoveries were made, the mystery schools were the ones spearheading them. The mystery schools were recognized as the media for spiritual enlightenment. While the teachings in these schools were not used to fulfill ulterior motives and diabolical schemes, these teachings were enough to develop some sort of superiority complex to the ones who have acquired them. These schools were regarded with the highest standards, however, corruption and selfishness crept in, thus discrediting what the mystery schools have always stood for. Chapter 5, Hacking into the Mind of the Illuminati. To fully understand the doctrines, principles, and concepts of the Illuminati, you should hear them directly from the true members. This secret society has subsidiaries which include the Freemasons, Skull and Bones, and the Bohemian Grove. If Illuminati's teachings about the history of the creation of mankind and the true nature of God are to be believed, would you be betraying the very teachings of the Church? How about keeping the truth hidden from the public and secretly manipulating significant events? Illuminati compared with other religions. Every religion, like Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism, wants everyone to reach a level of understanding of what truths to consider. However, Illuminati do not conform to these ideals. Even the elite Illuminati members do not follow the Golden Rule, which is treating others as you want to be treated, but instead, they have been known to violate every important moral code of most religions in the world. Illuminati members do not abide by the basic moral commandments taught by most religions, like do not lie, do not murder, and do not steal. These commandments have no meaning to the elite Illuminati members. So, if this is the real picture, the question running through your mind could be how they can believe to a supreme deity if they do not abide by moral standards. Do the Illuminati believe in life after death? How will they be able to escape the divine justice that waits for everyone upon death? Two basic explanations from the Illuminati. The Illuminati has two basic answers to the above questions. First, the Illuminati do not believe in the afterlife, and that human beings are just a form of sophisticated animals with no souls. They believe that once you die, there is no afterlife to go to and even judgment is non-existent. It's just you will just cease to exist. This could very well justify how, in most instances, they rob the world of their money, freedom, and health. The second answer is the secret group believes that God is not a judgmental God. He does not judge in a personal way but in an impersonal way, by looking at the good deeds as opposed to the bad deeds mankind has done. In this regard, they believe that they need to balance out their karma and avoid those unwarranted repercussions of their indiscretions. Are they on the right track? Looking at these two principles, could the Illuminati be accurate in believing such concepts? Do you buy that concept that human beings are like animals with no soul and afterlife? If you are someone who lives and breathes spirituality, could you be living in a life for so long? Come to think of it, if their teachings are to be believed, mankind is living in vain and in a dangerous place at that. If there is no afterlife or judgment day from God, life is meaningless. If every human being would live for himself, then you would be living in a world full of chaos because everyone would break all the basic moral codes. Life would be hell. There are two ways of putting it. Either the Illuminati have gotten the entire truth or they may have just a piece of it but they assume that they have taken the whole. It's like a blind man leading another blind man, both ending up in circles because neither one sees where they are headed. Illuminati members may boast of superior knowledge and infinite wisdom as a result of their quest to finding the true path of illumination. They might have been wrong in some of their teachings. They may have been blinded by their own selfish pride and their being too drunk from their own power. Adolf Hitler. Just like what happened to Adolf Hitler and his loyal Nazis. They believed that they can rule the world and build a new race of supermen. They were certain that they possess mystical powers and that it was the Nazis' destiny to build a vast empire and Hitler would be their high priest. But their plans never materialized. Hitler, including his closest allies, took the easy way out by committing suicide as an act of defeat. The Catholic Church holds on to what was written in the New Testament of the Bible. Jesus told his disciples that there are two rules that all mankind must abide to. These are to love God with all their hearts and to love their neighbors as they love themselves. These teachings are in direct contradiction of what the Illuminati teach. In philosophy, Pascal's theory states that if man was to live as if there was no God or final judgment and he was proven wrong, mankind would be in a position of a tremendous loss. However, if you are to look at the teachings of religion, you live for a purpose, and that is to face Judgment Day. So you either live doing good deeds to be able to receive a redemption or do wrong deeds and face punishment. When you look at these opposing teachings, keep in mind to continue to live abiding the Golden Rule. You can learn the teachings of this infamous secret society and understand their principles, but it shouldn't make you abandon the moral rules of the Church. Remember that faith is universal and there is a universal code of conduct that the world has to abide to, and the Illuminati is in direct violation of that code. Chapter 6: How the Illuminati Work. Discussions about the Illuminati will always include anti-Semitism. Conspiracy theorists believe that Jews figure prominently in everything and that they are the ones that control the Illuminati, even the New World Order. They always believed that there are the Jewish bankers that controlled everything. Some people still believe the existence of the protocols of the elders of Zion proving their sinister plans. These protocols are said to be a series of documents that outline the different steps for world domination. People believed that the Jews wrote them, and there were detailed descriptions of how the secret group will take over the media, the banking system, and the political institutions. These documents were believed to have been found in 1905, and this document was said to fan the flames of hate for the Jews. Another aspect that makes people resent the Jews is that some Jews have the belief that they are the chosen people of God. This notion of supremacy still exists today, and it has caused more conflicts than unity. Coming together. The us versus them still exists today. People identify with a particular political group and believe everything that their group believes in, and naturally, they oppose anything that the other group believes in. Taking the United States two-political party system, supporters of the Republican Party believe that the Democratic Party is a bunch of incompetent and stupid leaders and members, while they exalt their own party. Same goes for the Democratic against the Republicans. This false/blind belief prevents a lot of people from seeing the true leadership at the helm of the two political parties. Truth is, the Illuminati control the two parties, as clearly manifested in US presidential elections of 2004, when both George W. Bush and John Kerry had to face each other for the presidency. Both are active members of the Skull and Bones Society, which is an ultra-elite branch of the Illuminati. The Illuminati Principles. Adam Weishaupt wrote in Notations, "By this plan we shall direct all mankind. In this manner, and by the simplest means, we shall set all in motion and in flames." The occupations must be so allotted and contrived, that we may, in secret, influence all political transactions. This is a clear proof of the group's main goal to take over the world, beginning with the superpower of modern times, the USA. Furthermore, the order will, for its own sake, and therefore certainly, places every man in that situation which he can be most effective. The pupils are convinced that the order will rule the world. Every member, therefore, becomes a ruler. From the very beginning, the Illuminati have had their sights on taking over the world. The notations continue to state that the group has to help in the development of science, particularly branches that influence the world and those that will help clear whatever obstacles the secret group might have to face. Every member is trained to become a spy because their purpose is not to let anything escape their sights. Do not be surprised of this fact. High-level Republicans and presidents are the right foot of the Illuminati, while the Democrats are considered to be the left foot. Both work together for one common goal, which is to bring the Illuminati closer to its world domination. This is the reason why there are elected officials and presidents, even, who sometimes act that contradict their own party's principles or their campaign promises. One particular example is George W. Bush. He was a known conservative, but government spending increased during his term. He would continue to talk about keeping the country safe from terrorists, yet he refused to improve border security. He even denounced those volunteered, the Minutemen, who patrolled the US-Mexican border, and labeled them as vigilantes. Another way of looking at it, the owners of the National Football League doesn't care which team wins the championship every year because they make money anyway, the same way with the Illuminati with politics. With the US, the president is like the manager of a restaurant. He may appear to be the one in charge, but he is still someone who works for the owner of the establishment. The president carries out the agenda of his boss that remains in the background, which is, the Illuminati. The media. The Illuminati makes sure that it has control over what information comes out. The media is a very powerful tool. Hence the Illuminati wanted full control of the newspaper and magazine publishers, radio networks, television channels, and even film studios. This ensures that unwanted information is not presented to the public. While it may not be 100% effective, They are able to minimize negative news stories that would hurt the group's goals and activities. Aside from being gatekeepers, producers and editors are the ones who receive information on what should be produced and what topics to develop. For example, in 2008, Scott McClellan, former White House press secretary, came out on CNN to report that the White House gave regular topics to discuss by several Fox News Channel hosts. The Outfoxed, Rupert Murdoch's War on Journalism, a 2004 documentary, detailed how the Fox News Channel was used as both a defender and attacker of the Bush administration. There are memos leaked to the public showing there were orders from Fox higher-ups as to what stories to run and what angles to pursue, so that their broadcasts are in alignment to the hidden agenda of the real boss. This is just for television. The group knows how to launch smear campaigns against their enemies using print media. There is a letter found in the original writings that read, "We get all the literary journals. We take care, by well-timed pieces, articles, to make citizens and the princes a little more notice for certain little slips." Media has a great influence on a person's behaviors, particularly television. Sexual immorality, disrespectful and destructive behaviors, and violence are depicted on television and have proven to be very popular. The economy. The financial system is quite complicated. The Illuminati's source of power comes from controlling money. Since the 12th century, the Illuminati began learning how to earn money by providing loans with interests to individuals and governments. They required collaterals for loans to be approved. From the barter system evolved the monetary system wherein metal coins and paper currencies were used in exchange for services and products. The Federal Reserve System is at the forefront, but the Illuminati are actually running the show. The secret group's ultimate financial goal is to build a socialist system wherein one government is in full control of any industry, including healthcare, financing, and real estate. The New World Order was created so that all citizens will be dependent on the government for jobs, education, basic services, and health care. This makes it easier for the Illuminati to dictate what the people can and cannot do. Their main purpose is to establish a class society wherein a small percentage, comprising of the Illuminati and their members, will become the owner and have full control of wealth, infrastructure, and real estate, and the rest of the world as second-class citizens, slaves, with no power or real assets. This system could be based on a caste system of ancient India. The New World Order will become self-sustaining. If intelligent people want to escape being slaves, they have to be willing to embrace the principles and concepts of the Illuminati to be given the pass to be a member of the elite group. Those who belong to the lower class will willingly accept their enslavement as long as they are entertained by television and mass media. As the Illuminati have full control of health and pharmacies, they can easily keep the slaves sedated by giving them prescription medications. They will continue to be enslaved as they use their extra earnings on alcohol. Their credit card bills and high interest rates will prevent them from improving their way of living. There is no way they will be given the opportunity to improve financially because of endless spending. The 2008 economic collapse is said to have been orchestrated by the Illuminati. A $700 billion bailout for struggling banks was proposed. The staggering amount was a representation of the $2,300 amount equivalent for every man, woman, and child in the USA. The Treasury and the Federal Reserve cautioned that if the bailout was not passed by Congress, the stock market would crash and the country would fall into unimaginable crisis in just a matter of weeks. It was revealed that some members of the Congress were told that should the bailout didn't pass a vote, there will be a breakdown in the country might be placed under martial law rule. Congressman Brad Sherman exposed the scheme. However, the bailout was passed by Congress, but the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve decided to use the money for other purposes. In November 2008, the U.S. elected a new president in Barack Obama, and immediately after being sworn into office, he proposed for another stimulus package. These bailouts and stimulus packages catapulted the US federal government to become the largest shareholder of different financial institutions. Banks which were once independent have suddenly become government-controlled. The book, A Treatise on White Magic, published in 1934, Illuminati author, Alice Bailey, chronicled how the Illuminati took financial control to educate the members of the secret society. The love of money is the root of all evil has taken a new context when you look at how the Illuminati gain full control of the economy. When you have a deeper understanding of how financials and other aspects of the modern world work, you will also have a perfect understanding of how the Illuminati work behind the scenes. There are still a lot of items to discuss about the Illuminati, and a book might not be enough to expose their whole story, but just the same, may your curiosity be satisfied with this simple read. Conclusion. Thank you again for downloading this book. I hope this book was able to help you to understand the Illuminati. The next step is to pursue further study for more enlightenment. Finally, if you enjoyed this book, then I'd like to ask you for a favor. Would you be kind enough to leave a review for this book on Amazon? It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you and good luck.